Let's bring in our man Mark McAdam now to have a chat about this. Mark, you've been speaking to people who I know you're a man who's connected. You've got, you know, people at clubs up and down the country, but you've been speaking to people close to Aston Villa. What's the consensus on, well, let's say Emery's top 3 priorities when he arrives at Villa Park?
I think it's safe to say every single Aston Villa fan is really excited about this appointment and the potential that Unai Emery will bring to that football club. We know that they've got hugely ambitious owners, there's a hugely ambitious fan base, and there's a history at that football club where they've been competing, you know, in Europe and towards the top end of the Premier League for various parts of their history. So I think that's the key thing. They want to get back to being that type of football club that can challenge at the very highest level. You've talked about priorities. We've identified 3 that I think most Aston Villa fans will think these are the key things that he needs to address when he jumps into the hot seat in November. First of all, the style of play. That's really important for Aston Villa fans, and for most football fans. They want to see their football club play expansive, exciting, aggressive, attack-minded football. They want to see them score goals. They want to see a clear identity and a philosophy about what the team is trying to do. Whatever they're working on the training pitch, they want to see it replicated and emulated on a match day at 3 o'clock. And that's perhaps something that Steven Gerrard couldn't quite get into that Aston Villa side. Even though he was only there for a relatively short period of time, a lot of fans didn't feel that they were playing with an identity and a style. So that's got to be point number 1 for Unai Emery. He needs to get his ideas across. We know, as we've seen, he's a hugely experienced manager, and he's got to get that really exciting team on paper playing really exciting football on the pitch.
That result of the weekend was the one that left Villa fans and particularly Steven Gerrard thinking, well, where's this been, you know, in the last few months. There's a lot of little issues to sort out for Emery, isn't there? Players misfiring and so on, getting the club united again, I suppose. What would be, do you think, the next sort of phase that we see the club go through?
I think the second priority will be to get that really good group of talented players playing together and playing at their best. You look at the likes of Philippe Coutinho, someone that was a marquee signing when he came in for Steven Gerrard. Has he been as effective as perhaps that even Steven Gerrard would have hoped for and the Villa fan base would have hoped for? Absolutely not. So therefore, you need to get him back to his very best levels. You also need to get the very best out of Ollie Watkins. He got into double figures in the Premier League last season. He hasn't really hit the ground and scored the goals that they would have hoped this season. The same with Danny Ings. Danny Ings at Southampton was a goal machine, hence why Aston Villa went into the market and paid in excess of £20 million for him. Has he looked like a goal machine for Aston Villa? No. The same with perhaps Leon Bailey, Emi Buendia. There are players there that are so talented, have so much technical ability, but they just haven't been able to showcase that for Aston Villa. When you look at Danny Ings, Emi Buendia and Leon Bailey, the weekend they started for the first time together. Now, they were the 3 players that were signed by the football club to replace Jack Grealish, who went for £100 million to Manchester City. We know that they said we didn't feel we could replace Jack Grealish with 1 signing, so therefore they went out and bought 3 new players in with the attributes and qualities that they felt Jack had, spending in excess of £85 million on those 3 players. So he needs to get the very best out of individuals. Tyrone Mings was a top-class player. He's been in and around the England setup. It hasn't looked like being Aston Villa's best defender this season. So that's going to be priority number 2. Get the very best out of individuals and get them playing together.
Well, you're giving us 2 priorities, then I'll push you for a 3rd one, just in case Unai's watching this morning and making notes.
He's definitely watching. He's a big fan of Sky Sports News. The 3rd thing, and perhaps the most crucial thing, is building that unity with the fans. I think it's safe to say there was a real disconnect between Steven Gerrard and the Villa fan base. It didn't feel like they loved him as the manager and he loved them as the manager. And I think that's going to be important. You've got to unite the fan base. You've got to get them together. You've got to get them all, you know, backing the team, believing in the team, enjoying watching the team, and just create a noise around Villa Park that makes the away side intimidated. You know, you understand Newcastle. Exactly the same thing that Eddie Howe's done there. He's gone in, he's united the fan base, he's got them all pulling in the same direction. The noise is incredible, and that means that the performances on the pitch are incredible, and I think that's going to be something that's really important. Huge fan base at Aston Villa, hugely passionate. They've got owners that want to achieve, want to push forward, and want to be operating at the sharp end of the Premier League, and he's got to make sure that everyone is on that ship with him behind the team as they move forward.
Yeah, it'll be fascinating to see, you know, how quickly he can turn things around there. Mark, thank you very much indeed for that. We'll see you again very, very soon.